בבית אדוני כל ימי, כל ימי חיי.
שברך אבותינו ואימותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את החולים. מי שברך אבותינו ואימותינו רבקה, רחל ולאה, ויברך את החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא, ימלא רחמים עליהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא, ימלא רחמים עליהם. מי שברך אבותינו ואימותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, ויברך את החולים. רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, ויברך את החולים, ונאמר אמן, ונאמר
to God.
When we raise our voices in sacred harmony, our joy increases and our spirits can fly free. Sing to our Creator, from whom all blessings flow. Just sing a new song. Basru miyom liyom Yeshua tov, sapru v'goyim kevodo bechol ha'amim niflotav. Just sing a new song unto God. Sing a new song. Sing a new song unto God. Shir Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shir Ladonai, just sing a new song unto God. She Hadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Shir Hadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Shir Hadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shirul Adonai, Shir Hadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz. When we raise our voices in sacred harmony. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Grant us peace all over the earth. Grant us peace all over the earth. Bless us in every season. Bless us in every moment. Bless us in every season. Bless us in every moment. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim
Have you been longing, waiting, searching for a radically inclusive, vibrant, emergent, sweet, traditional, non-traditional, musical, welcoming Jewish space to go deep, to sing, to eat, sometimes to fast, to remember, to heal, to play, and to pray in?
Welcome to
Micah.
Micah, an everybody-friendly, inclusive, multi-generational spiritual community where innovation drives our explorations into and celebrations of Jewish life. A congregation where people of all ages seek to build community and help prepare the world.
Judaism at Micah. Experience it in person or online. For a full list of our services and programs, like us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and visit our website, congregationmicah.org. Shalom Aleichem, may peace be upon you.
sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai, shiru l'Adonai. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. That sounds so nice. Let's do it again. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. So we're in the month of Elul. And Elul is sort of an acronym, right, Rabbi Flip, for Ani Ledodi Vedodi Li. So we thought we'd start with this Dodi Li. Dodi Li Vani Lo Haroe Bashoshanim Dodi. Let's try that together. Dodi li vani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li mizotola min hamidbar. Mizotola min hamidbar. Dodi li vani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li mekuteret mor levona, moru levona. Dodi li, dodi li vani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li.
Shabbat Shalom. So on behalf of Cantor Josh Goldberg and Rabbi Lori Rice and our entire professional staff and leadership, I welcome you all. I welcome everybody virtually. I thank Misty Lewis in the back of the room, who's helping with our sound as always. I had what I thought was a great idea this afternoon. I was told it was not a great idea, but they give me a microphone, so I'm going to share my idea with you. I was thinking that tonight is like the last Shabbos of the season. And some baseball fans, like the last game of the regular season, because the playoffs start tomorrow. We're in them. It's good. And I thought we could, maybe do like a swag giveaway to like our first 50 arrivals tonight. We don't have jerseys, but like could get a Frisbee, but tumblers were mentioned. Anyway, the office said, we're not doing that, Rabbi Flip, which is fine. But I thought it is the end, it's the last Shabbos before we enter a very sacred time, and I want to mark that. So one of the things they do, I'm not going to say they're kitschy, at these events, essentially, where they have special like faith nights at the baseball game, or it's the last game of the season. It could be like Jewish Heritage Appreciation Night, something like that. If anyone's ever been to baseball games, they do this stuff. They do it locally, they do it nationally, and they honor people, like also like if it was, I don't know, like a basketball game that's like seniors night. So I thought we could honor our seniors with lighting candles tonight. If you consider yourself a senior, I only pay $16 now when I go to Great Clips. I'm just saying. I'm not going to say my age. If you want to come up and light candles, I need somebody to do it. If you have an ARP membership, if you have, good, some people are getting, my parents at least, I know they fit into that cat. No one wants to admit to being an elder, a wise person among us. The Chachamim, they call him. Okay, some people are coming, thank you. A chance to light candles and be on television and Facebook and YouTube. All right, get it going. The benders can come right in and come right up if they want. They don't know why, but they can.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להליך נר של Shabbat.
Amen. Kol hakavod, we say all the honor to you. Thank you for being members of our community, for helping us welcome the Sabbath. We continue to do so by welcoming the Sabbath bride.
לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני Shabbat nekavela Shamor vezachor bedibo echad Ishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shemo l'siferet V'linchila lecha dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוך בסוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני בשבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני המסגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. יא לי 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 לי, יא לי לי לי, יא לי לי
We remain standing as we chant the words of Hatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen. Please stay standing for Baruch Hu. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'eh.
We invite you to take your seats. You're welcome to sing with us the words of Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadta, Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokbeinu u'bekuameinu נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו nege yomam v'layla Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And you shall love Adonai with all your soul and all your might, and teach these words today and night to all your children, for it's their right. And wear them proudly as a sign upon your hand, and as a crown above your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gate throughout all time.
So this is going to surprise no one in this room, but Cantor Josh Goldberg is a very sensitive and thoughtful person. And I say that because we've been planning a lot of services together, and we've been trying to think about songs that you would know, that would be familiar for this transition, and also songs that, frankly, he's written or that we're going to be introducing in the High Holidays. So by coming on the last Shabbos of the season, you get this extra introduction so that you really look like experts and regulars that you are when you come during the High Holidays, and you can help us sing along. That being said, we want to think about all those things in our life right now where we feel a little trapped, because the season of the High Holy Days, the days of awe, are upon us, and it should be a time to free us up, to let go of some of those struggles that we have, some of the conflicts that we're facing, and how to do that in a graceful manner. And so we invite everybody to join us on this journey, whether you join us in person or virtually, or some sort of hybrid without these, throughout these holy days, and hope that at the other end you will feel as free as the Israelites did on the other side of the ocean, and willing to sing this song of hope with us.
Yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yai lai 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 mi chamocha bailim Adonai mi kamocha nedar bakodesh nora tehilot o seifele malchutcha ra'ov בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי, אנו ויאמרו, אדוני מלוך, לעולם לעולם ועד. יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי לי יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 לי. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי לי יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 לי
We have arrived at, I sound very powerful. We've arrived at that part of our service where we like to just check in with the community. We pause and especially think of the joyous things, but this is a compassionate place, so if you need to share something else, you can. We're looking for things you're going through in life as we enter this sacred season. I speak of the Yamim Noraim, these days of awe, something you want to share that'll bring a little more joy or a little more comfort to our community. You guys are looking at me like we've never done this before. You guys are in this room all the time. Does nobody have anything? Something happy that they'd like to bring with them into the new year. I can change the slide. Yes, at the back, I'll repeat it. You in the blue.
Our son who just went to college,
Yes.
but is only 4 hours away,
Yeah.
decided that he would
Okay.
be here for Rosh Hashanah, so he's coming home.
Our child, who is an adult, is going to be joining us for Rosh Hashanah.
That's a mom.
Yeah, and the Titans game. Let's get, all right, it's just a double. A lot of pull there. All right.
They're not overlapping. They're not the same.
Does anyone remember the Dolphin game that ran 7 hours for Rosh Hashanah? Look it up. Yeah, it happened. Okay, in Miami. Someone else, something happy. Yes, please.
Yes, my little niece had a baby.
Oh, we got a new baby. Niece had a baby. Mazel tov. That's awesome. Yes, we like new life. That brings a little more joy into our Sabbath. Yes, Pat.
You married our daughter.
Yes, well, I was officiated at your daughter's wedding with Rabbi Cantor. It was a whole party. Say again?
It will soon be
7 years. That's an anniversary. That one's still working. I keep going to go baseball references. I'm pretty good for baseball. I bat 50% is my guess. I don't know. I hope better. Someone else. Yes, what do you got?
Well, my little cousin got married.
Okay, marriage.
And then we went back, and it was a nice ceremony there by the beach in San Diego. And oh my gosh, it was nice. Good to see everybody.
Okay, so family reunion sorts because someone got married on the beach in San Diego. I'm repeating these things so people watching us on Facebook can hear us. Okay, is that enough? Do we feel like we need something else? A little more joy because we're going to sing Yismahu. So think of something happy so that it works, okay?
Being here for Shabbat is a joy, right?
I agree.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. עם מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישבעו ויתענגו ילמדו בך שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשי שבת, זכר למעשה בראשי שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, קוראי עונג שבת, ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
It is with our joy and our authenticity that we ask you to please rise for Tefillah, our central prayer.
Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid, tehilatecha. Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלם. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We leave a little time for silence for the prayers of your own heart. And when you're done, you may be seated.
רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
So every week, I read a list of names, real people from our community or people from our community that know people in other communities that are in need of a prayer for healing. So this week we mentioned the names Mike Robinson and Stephen Feldman, Steve Pachmeyer, going to throw Dashiell's name in there too, B.J. Rogers, Steve Goldberg, Roberta Blatt, John Mitchell, Craig Smith, Deborah Scott, Penny Enton, Joyce Monk, Victoria Cohen, Yvonne Fox. We, of course, ask if you know of anyone who might be ill or want to say a name out loud. You're certainly invited to do so. We take those names as well as all people in need of a prayer for healing, and we invite you to sing with us.
The words of this prayer are just Ana, Elna, Refa, Nala. Ana, Elna, Refa, Nala. Ana, Elna, Refa, Nala. Ana
Thank you, Cantor.
Thank you.
So, Micah is the beneficiary of a lot of generosity from a variety of people. And it's sort of our tradition, it's our custom that is very often done in an anonymous fashion. So we have a member of our community who every year donates our Machzor, our High Holiday Prayer and Memorial Book. And, you know, he does not need the recognition. Matthew Hershkowitz does not need the recognition for that. But what I really like about it is that it forces us to sort of pick the liturgy and figure out what our themes might be a little bit in advance. So this year we are going to ask you to open your heart and to expand your mind and to free your soul and to honor your body. We want to get these things all in line with you. So I just, you don't have, if you feel safe, you can close your eyes right now. I want you to go with your gut feeling right now, okay? Gut feeling. We're going to take a poll, so you're going to have to raise your hands. Rabbi Lori wrote a sermon. She's very good at giving sermons. She said it's not that good, okay? So we can go with the sermon, or if there are questions on your mind around the holidays, we like to leave a little time. So gut feeling right now. Rabbi Lori's sermon, raise your hand. Ooh. We will do Ask the Rabbi at another time.
All right, but you were forewarned fairly, and I just feel like...
When do we get the paychecks?
It's just we're writing a few things this time of year. And so yesterday at about 2 o'clock, I said, oh my gosh, it's Shabbat, and I have to write something for that. So anyway, I did, you know what any rabbi would do. I called my best friend who's a rabbi in New York, and I said, what do you have on Ki Tavo? And she said, nothing good. And I was like, all right, well, that's a good starting point. Okay, so actually, it's not true that it's not good. It's just, it all starts to blend, right? And but this parsha is interesting. I don't know how familiar you are with the book of Deuteronomy, but this parsha talks about blessings and curses, and it's really kind of hard to understand what goes on here. It's a little bit of a poll, if you will. There are prophets on Mount Ebal, and there are prophets on Mount Gerizim, and one represents the blessings and one represents the curses, and it's this interesting game. Anyway, didn't you see it coming? No, I mean, how was I to know? Well, maybe I saw it. I mean, I've known her for years. She and I frequented the mall together. She was there when my parents divorced. She really was unbelievable. He's been my closest friend for ages. We used to sneak out of Passover dinners together and tune into the game on the TV in the basement. I was there when his kids were born. That was amazing. I guess I knew he was lonely. I mean, I suppose I saw it coming. Of course, yes, I saw it. I saw it coming, but I really didn't want to see. We don't see what we don't want to see. We know that all the evidence in the world will not convince someone who prefers to be blind to the evidence. All the arguments in the world, however rational and forceful they may be, cannot persuade a person who is clinging to his or her preferred beliefs and who is not open to logic or reason. We know that opening our eyes to the reality of what is before us is risky. It takes courage. And so many of us close our eyes or cover our ears and try hard not to understand what's right in front of us. And so as the sun sets tonight, and as Rabbi Flip mentioned, we officially begin this fast-paced journey to the high holy days, the days of awe, the Yamim Noraim. Tonight begins Shabbat. Tomorrow we honor this annual pre-holy day ritual of Slichot, a pause to contemplate the days of awe just around the corner, and we'll listen to the melodies of the season and others that are meant to stir our soul and open our heart. And not to give Cantor Josh a heart attack or anything, but yes, tonight we begin. And the Torah readings that we find ourselves poring over in the month of Elul, like Ki Tavo for this Shabbat, is poignantly relevant and rich with meaning and helping us to ready our minds for the season that is upon us. And every morning during the month of Elul, we blow the shofar. And that's to keep us on a path of self-reflection in case we forget and we slip back and surrender into this mindless pull. The Torah stands ready to keep us awake. Every reading offers a subtle rhyme to the process of redemption. And so in Ki Tavo, we have these blessings and curses, and we find Moses in the midst of his final sermon. And it's a doozy. Don't worry, I'm not planning on competing with Moshe Rabbeinu, but let's remember it's his last opportunity to impart words of wisdom and warning to the people that he has lived, suffered, and supported for the last 40 years. Now, imagine that you're about to go off to college. And Moses is like your parents in a seemingly never-ending monologue, hoping to remind you of the lessons that they have desperately tried to impart to you for the last 18 years. And so it's not 18, it's 40. And the Israelites can't text Moses with questions if they forget something. They're standing at the border of a new and promised horizon, one that they will face without him. And the pressure is on. The need is palpable. You can almost feel Moses' anxiety. So here we are, and Moses has arrived to the consequence section of his lecture. And so he lists the blessings that the people will enjoy if they keep the commandments, and the punishments that they will suffer if they disobey them. There are lengthy lists in this Torah portion, but it's in the last few verses where we understand why the people are now ready to hear this grand sermon. Kol asher atem reitem et alehem v'yomer el kol Yisrael v'yikre Moshe uchol artso. You've seen all that Adonai did before your very eyes in the land of Egypt, the wondrous feats that you saw with your own eyes, those prodigious signs and marvels. Yet to this day, the Lord has not given you a mind to understand or ears to hear, not until this day. So to paraphrase what the text is telling us, there were miracles, all sorts of signs. There was a splitting of the sea, for goodness sake. There were punishments, some that were really harsh and unbelievable. And you were there. You saw, but you didn't see. You heard, but you didn't really hear. All that you needed to know was right there in front of you, but you didn't have the mind to understand any of it. You weren't ready. And why? Why were you not ready to see or hear or understand? And why are you ready now? Now, I've asked these questions multiple times myself. How does anyone walk through two walls of water and not believe? How do you watch people being swallowed by the earth after trying to overthrow Moses' leadership, or watch water spring forth from a rock, or receive manna, food from out of nowhere, and still complain when something goes awry? Through all the miracles, the revelations, the pillars of fire and smoke, the Israelites never truly comprehend the grandeur of God. And it's really inconceivable that a people could experience such imminence and still remain completely impervious to the power of the divine. But this is exactly what Moses means to convey in our message this week. And so the 16th century commentator Moshe Chafetz writes on this verse in his commentary, "You witnessed all those great wonders, but only appreciated their full significance just now, at this time, after they had receded from view, as if you had to this point lacked sight or hearing." Chafetz is observing that people of Israel did not understand the miracles because they needed some distance from them. It was their time in the desert, wandering, gaining perspective and experience growing, that allowed them to appreciate the full significance of the miracles. And, we need time to understand the lessons of our world. This is true, right? I mean, sending my high school daughter out of the house now, having not lived 2 more years of missteps or haphazard decision-making, that would hardly prepare her for a college campus. And would she even appreciate all that she had experienced under my roof? The love, the laughter, the unconditional affection. She needs more time marinating in my house, despite what she thinks. Rabbi Bar Shaul also writes about the phenomenon of blindness and deafness to the sights and sounds which are prominent in our surroundings. He says there is a magnificent teaching here in these verses for all generations and all situations. A person can see wondrous things, true revelations, and yet not see them. God gives the person eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to understand, but it is the person who must choose to see and to hear and to understand. It's the person who has to open his or her eyes to see well. It's easy to point fingers at the Israelites. They were so blind. But the Torah is speaking to us too, giving us both guidelines and warnings, signposts. What are we missing? What is it that's staring us in the face that we dare to turn away from? Who is crying out, but we act as if we cannot hear? Act as if the earbuds in our ears make it impossible to listen. Because so many times in our history, we failed to see the facts that were apparent to those who possessed understanding. I mean, most tragically, all of us who have read about the events leading up to the Holocaust find ourselves asking the questions, did they not see what was coming? Did our enemies not warn us clearly about their intentions to destroy us? Were the signals not sufficiently obvious? Why did so few take advantage of the opportunities to escape years before escape became impossible? These questions haunt us today and will continue to forever. And perhaps these questions are beyond our capacity. Perhaps they're over our heads. But what we can learn in less terrible and less tragic circumstances is, in fact, to face what's in front of us. More time. They simply needed more time. We simply needed hindsight to better understand the tragic lesson of history, those that continue to play on repeat. Often it is only in looking back on a time in one's life when it begins to make sense. But that seems like a convenient attempt to remove blame. How was I to know? Moses' words to the Israelites imply that God gives the heart the capacity for faith, but only to those who exercise it. Jodi Picoult, many of us have read her books, once wrote, "Sometimes we find ourselves walking through life blindfolded, and we try to deny that we're the ones who securely tied the knot." Because the Israelites could have, at any point, decided it was time to take off the blindfold, to see the wondrous, amazing acts that were performed on their behalf time and again, but they weren't ready. Because seeing would mean maturing, and hearing would mean understanding, and understanding would mean a readiness to take responsibility. Portia Nelson writes something almost synonymous to the Israelite experience in the desert in her poem, and I've shared this before, so it may sound familiar. It's called "There's a Hole in My Sidewalk," an autobiography in 5 short chapters. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. But my eyes are open. I know where I am. It's my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down another street. So it's that time of year where we begin to think. We think about why we are averting our eyes or covering our ears or preventing ourselves from seeking more understanding. I wonder how many of us, myself included, are stuck in a hole somewhere in our journey. How many of us are holding on to some very piece of personal history that is preventing us from moving on with our lives, keeping us from people we love? I wonder how many of us cling so tenaciously to a version of the story of our lives in which we appear to be utterly blameless and innocent, that we become oblivious to the pain that we maybe cause others, no matter how unconsciously or inevitably or innocently we've inflicted it. I wonder how many of us are terrified of acknowledging the truth of our lives because we think it might expose us. How many of us simply cannot bear to look, cannot bring ourselves to hear or really work to understand, so we keep falling in the hole. And we're stuck like the Israelites in the desert. Slichot, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, and this entire process of the High Holy Days is one in which we seek forgiveness. Forgiveness of ourselves and from others. Alfred D. Benjamin remembers some time ago, I'd almost reached my home when a stranger stopped me and asked if I knew the whereabouts of a certain street he was looking for. I pointed it out to him, straight down and to the left. Assured that I had been understood, I walked on, and as I did, I noticed that the stranger was walking in the opposite direction of that I had indicated. "Sir," I said, "you're going in the wrong direction." "I know," he said. "I'm just not quite ready yet." So we keep falling in the hole. We're not ready to walk around it. Sometimes we're just not ready. The enemy I know is less frightening than the new and presumed enemy I might meet if I follow the directions that I've asked for. The promised land for the Israelites was one that invoked fear and terror. They perceived the land to be full of giants who would destroy them the minute they got there. Now Moses sees that they are ready to remove the blindfold. And for each one of us, there is some place where we want to be, but we are not yet. You are not. I am not. We are not ready yet. And until we are, we can be gentle with ourselves. It's crucial, if not altogether godlike, that we give ourselves the same acceptance that we grant others, and that we grant others the same acceptance that we are willing to give ourselves. In order to deeply understand and act from maturity, we need to be willing to admit that we are dependent on something far bigger than ourselves. Sometimes timing really does account for developmental progress. 40 years in a desert, 6 more years before college, perhaps another year before we walk around the hole in our journey towards enlightenment. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat.
Well, if that's a bad one, you should probably join us for Slichot and for the high holidays. Okay. We are going to invite you all to please rise for the words of Aleinu. We will take ark openers. Anyone who wants to come forward. I'm not pressuring the Averys, but someone has to open the ark. I can do it, but I only have 2 hands. Anybody else? Come close to Torah. Okay. Let's do it. Thank you all.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We remain standing as we think about those people in our community this past year who have passed. We recall the names of William Bill Drongowski, George Hahn, Jerry Eli, T.J. Cohen, Arnold Hyatt, Stephen Allen Cooper, Norman Edward Heyman, Toby Lee Spiegel, Artis Felix, Kathleen Guccione, Kent Nolan, Laura Cass Hockman, Robert Charles Levine, Trevor Clark, Susan Ruckman, B.B. Weinstein, Marvin Oakes, Walter P. Stern, Evelyn Ruth Richmond, Lucille Foley, Stephen Joel Dubin, Stanley Felix, Roland Terry Hill, Martin Rabin, Frank Parker, Bertram Humboldt Schaflant Jr., Steve Geringer. We also recall on the anniversaries of their deaths Abraham Horowitz, Bernard Allen Sweet, Ella Herling, Ava Kramer, Francis Blaker Thompson, Irene Barretts, Jerry A. Rose, Jolie Grodsky, Lucas Santangelo, Mildred Rosenthal, Mira Sahlberg, Miriam C. Heller, Aaron Lebin, Mildred W. Lurie, Sadie Kravitz, Sandra Eli, Shandel Riddle, Shirley Davidson Abramovitz, Shirley Zuckerman, Sydney Katzoff, and Susan Friedman. If I've neglected to say a name or just one you'd like to say aloud.
Sophie Saban.
We invite you to join us in Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma tivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomachon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, tamiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'romam, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. We say Zikram na levracha, that their memory should always live on and be a blessing. Few announcements. We invite you to sit. Don't get too comfortable. Tomorrow morning on Zoom, we continue our Torah study. Please join us. Everybody is welcome. I want to point out that next week, Rabbi Lori, in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we'll be doing a special session of the Torah study, so that'll be something to catch. Mahjong takes place Tuesdays at 12:30. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. in our Eden Room, I believe. You can dance with Rabbi Lori and Cantor Josh as part of our Micah Minis, so let all the young folks know. Followed by Lily Goldner, who will become a Brit Mitzvah. Let's see, we have Slichot tomorrow night. If you enjoyed this evening, tomorrow night is always special. We changed the Torah covers. We've got beautiful music. We've got penitential prayers. There's some tasty treats. And I believe special guest Batsheva will be singing with us, yes?
Right.
Okay.
Really nice treat.
Everyone is welcome to an apparent adult education gun safety session in partnership with Moms Demand Action this Sunday, September 18th at 10 a.m. here in the sanctuary. Micah Reed's Book Club, Monday evening on a similar subject on Zoom at 7 p.m. Ron and Lynn Hetty will lead our discussion on Children Under Fire and American Crisis. It is sure to be a powerful discussion. If you want to really know what the High Holidays are about, if you want to feel guided through the experience, Rabbi Lori will hold your hand. She's leading a class navigating High Holidays. It will be on Zoom. It'll help you sort of prepare, as this sermon did, for the upcoming season. It's going to be Wednesday September 21st at 6 p.m. Schmooze and Views continues always. Come early, get a seat. It's been crowded. 10:30 a.m. We thank, as always, Dr. Bob Smith, our lay leader, for helping lead that discussion. On Sunday, October 2nd, this crowd looks like you're the group to do this. There will be a paddle boarding and kayaking on Percy Priest Lake. It's for Tashlich. It's like a backup Tashlich. We will walk out to the back of our property if the weather permits on the holy day of Rosh Hashanah. But we are going to, on October 2nd, that Sunday, at 1:30 p.m., all gather at the lake and do this. It's going to be fun. You can register online. There is a Mahjong tournament, Mahjong Madness, that's supposed to be happening on Sunday, October 9th. We need more people to do it, 9 a.m. to 4:30. It's $45 a player. Registration can be found in our e-blasts. Rejuvenation. What's it all about? It's an introductory class for people who are maybe thinking about conversion, but it's also for anyone who would like to study. There is no charge for members. It's $100 for non-members. You can brush up on your Judaism. Rabbi Lori will also lead that on Zoom weekly starting October 11th. Finally, we invite you to be cool and like us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe TikTok now. Is that correct?
Yes, we have a TikTok.
Okay.
Our first video is yet to be posted.
Oh,
but if you follow us, then
excitement is building.
can see it.
You can, of course, head over to our website for any of the information about the holidays as well. I'm out of breath, and there's another song to sing. We're going to close with, what psalm is it? Alti?
Psalm 27.
Psalm 27.
So
We've
if
got
any of
the
you were in
words.
my psalm writing class, yes, can you raise your hands? Yes, thank you. So in our last 3 weeks of psalm writing, we talked all about all 150 psalms, but specifically Psalm 27, which is the song that it's minhag to recite or sing every day of Elul. And we listened to a lot of different ones. We wrote our own versions of them. It was really fun, and we're going to share some of those versions with you, with the community, some of the writings that our congregants did. But for now, we're going to sing. So this is the setting I composed with my friend, cantor Jackie Raffi. So there's a lot of yalalais and a lot of call and responses. So I hope you'll join in. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Let's try that. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, achat sha'alti me'et Adonai, achat sha'alti otav vakesh. Let's try that. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai, achat sha'alti otav vakesh. Shivti, shivti beveit Adonai, kol yemei, kol yemei, kol yemei chayai. Shivti beveit Adonai, let me dwell in the house of God. Let me be right up close and personal with God. Let's try that. Shivti, shivti beveit Adonai, kol yemei, kol yemei, kol yemei chayai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Now repeat after me. Kol yemei, kol chayai, kol yemei חיי כל ימי חיי כל ימי חיי. Now a little faster. כל ימי חיי כל ימי חיי כל ימי חיי כל ימי חיי. Hey, yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai.
We rise for final Kiddush and the sounding of the shofar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh זכר ליציאת מצרים, כיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לשמוע קול שופר. תקיע. שכוייח. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.